It's Chris. It is Thursday, April the 4th. Hello. Today I want to talk about something that might not be on your mind, but I want to flag for you. Donald Trump 2028. Yes, you heard that right. Donald Trump 2028. And you say to me, Chris, it's not even 2024 election yet. What are you talking about? Okay, so a couple things. One, I just saw this article. It's in something called The American Conservative. Sounds legit. That makes the case for why Donald Trump, if he wins in November, should absolutely be allowed to serve another term in 2028, or at least run for it. The argument goes like this. The people who passed the 22nd Amendment, which said you can only serve for two 4-year terms, didn't ever think that we could have a situation like this one, which is Trump is elected in 2016, Trump loses in 2020, but Trump is then the nominee in 2024. The argument in the piece is that this is democracy in action. Trump is who Republicans want. And if they want him again, then who's to bar him from at least standing for another term in 2028? If voters don't want him, they can vote him out. So, I've long been in the shop of I rule nothing out when it comes to Donald Trump. So, I did not think he was going to win in 2016. Polls suggested he was not going to win. Every indicator I knew of as a political reporter suggested he was not going to win, and he won. So I never say never anymore. I'll also note that Trump, during his term, repeatedly joked about the fact that he would maybe serve beyond a second term. He didn't wind up getting a second term in 2020, but regardless, that he would serve beyond a second term, that, he hadn't, they had sort of cheated him out of his first term because of all these impeachments and all of the legal stuff, and that he really deserved 2 full terms without any problems, and therefore he would, maybe run for it. So the idea that he would at least try. Now, again, you'd have to change the Constitution. It would not be easy. But that he would at least try to potentially serve a third term if elected in 2024 does not shock me. Because in the words of Jane's Addiction, nothing shocking. Right? Nothing could shock me at this point as it relates to Donald Trump. I think he likes the idea of sort of being president for life. I think if he could make it happen, he probably would make it happen. But again, to change the Constitution is a really heavy lift, and I don't know that will happen, but I guarantee you that if Trump wins in November, he will absolutely joke, and maybe not even joke, about the possibility of serving on. Now, I want to raise one other thing when we talk about Donald Trump 2028. Comb my hair. Let's say Donald Trump loses in November, right? That'll be 2 straight losses. He won't acknowledge that he lost, right? Right. Of course not. He didn't acknowledge he lost in 2020. I don't think he'll acknowledge he lost in 2024. And I assume it'll be quite close. And, he'll say like, well, they dropped ballots. He'll say whatever he says, right? He says stuff. I don't find it inconceivable that Donald Trump, who would be 81 years old, which is roughly the same age as Joe Biden, would be 81 years old in 2028. I don't find it totally inconceivable that Donald Trump is again the Republican nominee for president in 2028. Again, do I think it's the likeliest scenario? I don't, but I also think you can't rule it out. Because, as I said before, you can't rule anything out when it comes to Trump. He has a stronger grip on the Republican Party today than he did at this point in 2020 while he was president, and definitely than he did at this point in 2016 when he was running for president. He will not give that grip up voluntarily. And the way usually that this happens is candidate runs, candidate loses. People are like, oh, we don't really want a loser, and they move on. But if the candidate never admits he loses, and if a significant amount of the base thinks he has in fact not lost, as a majority of Republicans do about Donald Trump in the 2020 election, what's to stop him, other than health, what's to stop him from running again? And that scenario, to me, seems more plausible because there isn't that little thing called the Constitution in the way of it, right? If he gets elected in 2024, he'd have to change the Constitution to run in 2028. Maybe he could, but it's a long shot. If he loses in 2024, he doesn't have to do anything. He could just run again because he'd just be running for a second 4-year term, which is totally constitutional and fine. That, to me, is the thing I keep an eye on. That thing is the thing, to me, that I think is a real I don't want to say a real possibility. It's remote, but it's absolutely a possibility. So I've said before, I've written before, I believe deeply, we will not be past Donald Trump until Donald Trump dies. Donald Trump is not going to give up his grip on the Republican Party. It will have to be ripped from him. And right now, I don't see anyone on the horizon who's going to do that. Now, maybe that changes after 2024, right? Two-time loser, even though he doesn't admit he lost. Maybe. But I would at least posit the idea, put it in your brain, put a tack in it, not in your brain, don't put a tack in your brain, but put a tack in the idea that maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump could run for president again in 2028. Yeah, I said it. Thanks as always for watching. We will do a live stream tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So I will post a link for that later today. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Subscriptions are going awesome. Thank you. We're over 20,000, getting closer to 21,000. Let's keep it going up. I will post links to my Substack newsletters, both politics and sports, in the comment section below. And that's it for today. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.